economic platforms that we are dealing with, and what are we going to do with it? The other week, I was sitting and talking, and this scripture came to me. It's Psalms 119, 153 to 154. And it says, Lord, look upon my suffering and deliver me. For I have not forgotten the law. Defend my cause and redeem me. Preserve my life according to your promise. And that's so easily misunderstood to say that if we see someone suffering or going through trials or things are happening in our community or in our nation, we just can say, hey, just pray for them. Tell them to pray for themselves. God will do all that he needs to do if they are in right standings with him. But see, I also love this quote by Eli Wiesel. It says this, I swore never to be silent whenever and wherever human beings suffer and are humiliated. We must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor and never the tormented. So that put together tells us this. There are times for us to rise up and be a voice for those who don't have voices. There are times for us to get involved in situations in our community and in our nation and in other people's lives when asked and when welcomed, for us to bring our experiences, our knowledge, understanding, and resources so that we can help and be part of solutions. And that's what Truth Talk is about. Truth Talk is a forum where we're going to bring to the forefront the events of our nation, culture, and communities from firsthand experiences from people on our panel today and people who are just like you watching. We will lean in and support those that are affected by the focus of each segment by hearing the truth of their experiences, by sharing and gaining wisdom. We want to give each panelist and you out there listening encouragement and guidance through the Word of God. And we want to help join each other to make a difference. And that's what we're here today. See, we can't just sit around and be silent. There's way too much going on. And there's a time now for us to speak out as the body of Christ, but do it with peace, respect, and I dare say unity. So with this, I would love to introduce my co-host, Markus Floyd. Welcome, Markus.
Hey, how you doing?
So Markus has a wonderful organization called Salute. And he is a community activist. He is outspoken to try to bridge the gap between those in authority and in organizations with those who receive the services and with his community. Markus, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a married man to a beautiful woman named Visha. We have 3 children, and I also have an older child. We have 4 total. And I'm just out here trying to live my God-given purpose and make a difference in the world. And Salute, it's been a blessing to me. It's Salute is an acronym. It means standing against lawlessness until the end, whenever that end may be. I mean, I'm blessed to be here. I'm glad to be a part of the whole segment, to be a co-host, and I'm looking forward to greater things. And it's just a blessing to be here, man.
You know, I appreciate that. And I love the fact that, we are able to do this on Zoom and all the streaming platforms thanks to social media shows. We are appreciative for them allowing us to come and join them in collaboration with this. And, allowing us to have people from all over different aspects of society, but also different states, East Coast and West Coast. As we know, wherever you live, there's different social norms. There's different acceptances. So we love to have a panel here, thanks to being able to do this on Zoom, from the East Coast all the way to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and all the way down to the West Coast, which is California, and they're in between. I would love for us to just start introducing. So our first panelist is Bill Coffman. Bill is a retired deputy sheriff with the Santa Barbara County Police Department. But foremost, he's a man of God who desires open dialogue about current events in hopes that we can start shaping the world to be better. Bill?
Hi, Melanie. I'm like Markus. I'm married, and then like Markus, I got a whole bunch of kids. My wife Barbara and I we've had 5 daughters, and we have a granddaughter now. So we're doing pretty good on that part there, Markus. We're joining you. I've known Melanie a long time. I was really happy when you called because I do think it's really important that we talk with each other. Not that we agree with each other, and I think that's one of the things I'm trying to get through to even my own children. You don't have to agree with somebody to like them. You don't have to agree with somebody in order to even be your best friend. Because if you just sit around with people you agree with, and that's the only people you talk with, you're never going to change your mind. And you need to change your mind sometimes because you're not always right. I'm not always right, and no one is. We're just people. Last person on this earth that was right every time he spoke was Jesus. The rest of us were not. We're right sometimes or wrong. So that's what you're doing here really means a lot to me. Although I will say that with so much hatred in the world right now, I've told people I'm going to move to Alaska, not because I like the cold weather, but because nobody's going to follow me. But I can't really do it. So, like Jonah, I just get swallowed by a whale, spit right back out. So here we are, and I'm really happy that you're doing this. I think it's excellent. And I represent California, by the way. I'm the West Coast ocean boy. Growing up in the sun.
Thank you, Bill. And no, don't move to Alaska. You would be missed too much by everybody who loves you.
I really don't want to. I just so fed up with stuff. I said, well, if I move to Alaska, no one will follow me because I don't think anybody wants to live in that cold.
Well, our next guest, she comes from what most of the conversation is about. She's Jacqueline Keenan. Full disclosure, she is my daughter. Jacqueline's here to bring understanding of how and why the young Black people are desperately wanting to fix the world that we live in today. She's been actively fighting for change and wants the world to know that all protesters, all those young people out there, they're not full of hate, and they're certainly not full of terror. Jacqueline?
Thank you for introducing me. I'm actually very excited to talk with everybody, be a part of the conversation, and just to show a different side of things and a new perspective.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I look forward to hearing what you bring to the table. And next, we would like to introduce Rebecca McClintock. She is a longtime friend and prayer warrior. Rebecca?
Hi, thank you, Melanie. I'm a pastor's kid. My husband and I have 4 kids. I am a Navy veteran, and I'm just so excited to be part of this conversation. I know God designed personal relationships to have this ability to shape us, and through that, even shape our culture. And I just really want to be a part of bringing about healing in everything that we're facing today, and to bring beauty from ashes. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I so appreciate those that we have already introduced, but we do have to take a short commercial break, and then we'll come back and introduce our next 2 guest panelists, which is Bonnie Traylor and Brandy Hunt. And then we'll get right into today's topic, which is racial unrest in America. Thank you.
Are you ready to hear about the most amazing competition coming your way? It's the Gifts of Talent virtual competition where you can dance, sing, act, do comedy, all in the comfort of your own home. And a portion of the proceeds goes to feeding the youth. You have a chance to win some amazing prizes. Have fun!
To enter, go to whalerscreation.us, or, for more details, go to socialmediashows.com and hishopnation.com. Or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to get updates, and to vote for your favorite talent.
John is an employee at one of the most famous firms in the city of New York, so his job is very hectic, and he realized that it is necessary for him to go and finally take a vacation. But he went on a vacation without planning out the details, and wasn't able to truly enjoy where he went because he had to think about so many things that he didn't plan for. Instead of enjoying his time away from work, he came back with more stress that he was not able to take full advantage of his vacation. But this year, a coworker suggested him to try World Ventures this time to make his vacationing more enjoyable and less stressful. They do not require you to plan anything outside of your transportation, which is also available at discounted rates. Your stay, your transport, and many meals are planned by the club.
Hello, welcome back to Truth Talk. We'd like to continue to introduce our guest panelists for this series of Racial Unrest in America. Brandy is here. She is our guest author and publisher. Brandy hopes to bring a different perspective to the conversation of racism, to be able to have her voice heard, but also to hear the experience of others. She believes that together we can learn, grow, and heal. Brandy.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am the representative East Coaster, Spartanburg/Greenville. No matter what time of the day, I'll probably be going up and down the road. So thank you for having me. Even when you asked me and said, God showed me that you're going to be on the panel, I went, really? me, God? But then I thought, why not me? Because as an author and a motivational speaker, both of those platforms are so that your voice can be heard, and I'm the voice of the community, not necessarily my voice, but the voice of the community. And I'm like the silent thunder. Most people look at me, I'm 5 foot tall, I'm quiet most days, and then I come with this loud boom, but it's not necessarily me. It's just the voice of people who may have remained silent that don't want to speak up. So I'm here for the people. I not necessarily have been through every scenario of racism, but I've had my share. But I'm here to speak on behalf of those who may be too afraid to speak for themselves.
Thank you, Brandy. I think that is a good place to be, and you have a lot to bring to the table. Our last and final panelist, but not least important, of course, is Bonnie. She is a district licensed minister in the Church of Nazarene here in Los Angeles. It is her desire to work with others, to seek justice with love and mercy, and walk together before God. She believes that when one hurts, well, we quite frankly all hurt. Bonnie?
Thank you so much, Melanie. I'm really excited about this, and I'm honored that you would ask me. I have 4 children, almost all out of the house in terms of adulthood. My youngest is 17, and I lost my husband of almost 30 years about 4 years ago. So, going it as a single mom now. I come from El Paso, Texas, and we, not quite a year ago, had a racially motivated shooting at the Walmart that, my family goes to. And that was tough. And I've been going through this process of opening my eyes and seeing things that I hadn't seen before. And I'm also partnered with a ministry in Rwanda, and I've studied the genocide there, and I'm super excited to be part of this process and contribute however I can as an advocate or just listening and learning.
Thank you, Bonnie. This topic, racial unrest in America, certainly we're not going to get through this in 1 hour today. So today we're going to set the stage. We're going to talk about what is it that is going on in America, first and foremost. What is the conversation? What is the unrest? And then through the next 2 to 3 weeks, then we will get into the problems that we're facing, the changes that we want to take, and then finally the steps that we are going to take together as a group, a team, and also as you guys respond in society to us and give us feedback, what we can do in your communities as well. Markus, would you like to take the helm and talk about what is it that we're talking about? What started this racial unrest this time?
Well, as you know, everybody knows about George Floyd, how he was senselessly murdered by one, but a total of four police officers. And it took the whole nation, pretty much the world, to another level that we haven't seen before, that I know I haven't ever witnessed before, to the point where it's so many people all around the world protesting and speaking out. And I mean, it's a lot going on, even though there has been some more after George Floyd. But George Floyd, it seemed like to be the one that just took the world by storm. And it's heartbreaking. And it's like we out here trying to figure out how can we do our part and make it impactful for society, for everyone, regardless of your race or your geographical background, regardless of who you are or how you live. It's equality for everyone, and also for people to be held accountable for their actions, regardless of their profession. It's a lot of unrest right now, a lot of tension, a lot of emotions with so many people, all of us, and I'm just glad that we're here to talk about it, to find solutions, and just do our part, to do what we can to make that impact.
Thank you, Markus. You know, one thing you said is we're full of emotions and passion. And something that Bill and I talked about earlier in the week was that passion is really great, but sometimes you get so full of passion that you lose control of yourself and you lose control of the narrative. And then you can't really pull it back. So what do we do at that point? What is the ripple effect for your lives? We have everyone here is from different walks, different communities. How did this ripple affect you and your family? Bill?
Well, it's had a big impact on me because more than one reason. Probably the one you would think is because I am a law enforcement officer. Now, I did retire, as you said, from the Sheriff's Department, but I'm still working as a part-time employee there, so I actually still work as a deputy sheriff, just not full-time. Work a couple days a week is all. And but yeah, that's been a big impact from the community. I've been asked quite a few times from people I know very well, pointedly, why do I want to kill people? And I'm like, I don't want to kill anybody. But they mean it. They're not even trying to be, it's not like they came up to me saying, I want to bother you. They're even questioning that. Like, I've known you for years, Bill. I can't believe that you're this way. And I'm like, I'm not this way. And the conversation is good, though. I want that conversation. I want people to feel comfortable coming up and talking to me. But my own kids come to me and said that. My 20-year-old came to me and said that. And I was like, but you grew up with me. How can you think that? But this is what's going on. We are actually tearing up, there's a lot of people tearing at each other. And I spoke to you about hatred, and that's one of the things that I realized as a Christian. I wasn't a Christian until I was in my 20s. And I was no different than anybody else. You were on my team or I hated you, kind of. I don't mean like super hatred, but I was an athlete. And boy, I tell you what, an opposing team, that was some animosity. And after I became a Christian, I said, that was really crazy. That was nuts of me to do that. And after I became a cop, even after my military days, I became a cop. And I was dealing with people of different color than myself, people I was arresting, people I'm taking their freedom from them. And I really tried, and it doesn't always work, to see things from their perspective and just talk to them. Talk. And that's after sometimes you got to chase somebody down, tackle them and everything else, fight them into handcuffs. That happens. That does happen. But when you're getting them medically cleared, I always try to talk to them about, what's going on in their life and that kind of stuff. And they're usually surprised. But that's what I think that the Bible says, that a soft answer turns away wrath. If you're yelling at me what a bad guy I am, I'm probably not going to listen to you. If you talk to me and tell me your concerns, I might. If I yell at you and tell you how stupid you are, you're probably just going to yell back. And so that's not a good idea. But that's what we do as humans. And so that's kind of why I'm really happy about this.
Yeah, and you know, back in my day when I was younger, not too far from now, even how I raised my children is, you know, men in uniform, women in uniform, whether it be military or police or um, firemen or EMS workers, whatever it is, you respect them because they are dedicating their lives to saving yours. They are dedicating their lives and putting themselves in harm's way every day when they get up to protect and to serve. Something is lost here when we just lump everybody together, just like all police are bad, all young African Americans are terrorists. We can't do all. You know, we have to conversate and say, you know what, it's not about all. It's about how the, well, systemic society has been run and how we can change the parts that don't work. It is about the way this America is running and has run throughout history, and we will get to that more further on in the show. But thank you, Bill, and I do thank you for your service.
I just want to say one thing.
Sure.
I believe this completely. Like, cops deal with a lot of bad stuff. You get called to terrible things, and I mean just horrendous behavior of people hurting each other. And over a 10, 15, 20-year career of that, there's people that do get jaded. I know that. And I think one of the things that I've tried to do, not completely succeeding, but I tell other cops, I tell them all the time, you got to go to the gym, you got to go to church, and you got to go to college. Because you got to go to college where people are trying to get their brains better. You got to go to the gym where you're trying to get your body better. And you got to go to church where you're trying to get your soul better. And you'll find a whole bunch of people that aren't destroying each other like we deal with on a daily basis. And you'll realize that we're dealing with a small percentage of the population, not the majority. And I think that's important for us to do. And not just cops, everybody does stuff like that. You'll be better off.
Well, thank you, Bill. And I know you have to be signing off a little early today, but thank you so much for being here. And with that, we're going to take another commercial break. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Experience the power of Power X. Fresh.
Perfect.
As we continue to grow and build a brand, social media shows continue to develop and discover new possibilities to help one another. Our affordable services will help us move to the next level of our journey. Host your own show to inspire or entertain others for as low as $150 per month.
You have 20 shows a week, live stream.
We are looking for sponsors. We showcase your business products and services on our network to be seen by your target market for as low as $200 a month.
That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations.
Let us promote and advertise your event, giving your venue the red carpet treatment. This platform allows venues that feature entertainment, singers, bands, DJs, comedy, fashion, corporate events, and family events to be
And welcome back to Truth Talk. We are here understanding how all of this social and racial unrest in society has affected the different points of community that we have here on our panel. Rebecca, would you like to share how this has affected you, or maybe it hasn't affected you?
I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be. You can be my luck.
Brokenhearted when I saw what happened to George Floyd, and I decided I needed to reach out to my friends of color and ask them how they were and talk about racism. And I found out that racism exists. I'm 41, and I thought racism was something in movies. Like, I did not know that racism existed. And Melanie, I know when I called you and you were describing some of the experiences in your own family, and you told me it hadn't come up in conversation between you and I in the 9 years that we've been friends because it's too normal. And those words just broke me down. Like, every time I think about that, I break down. I can't believe that racism is something that's normal. That is someone's experience on a day-to-day basis. And so for me, listening and hearing and responding in a personal way to my friends and my family, I have family members that are biracial and multiracial, and just engaging in that conversation is so important because I don't want to be aware. I don't want my eyes to be veiled to the enemy and what he's been trying to do and what he has been succeeding at doing in this world and in this culture that I live in.
Yeah, Rebecca, I've always had that in my mind. I knew I was raising Black children in this society, and there are certain things that we do, like don't let the kids go out ungroomed when they're young. You wear your wedding ring, so you're not pegged as a someone that's just got out and had 3 babies by 3 different baby daddies. So you to protect yourself in those scenarios. But really, until now, for me, I never really saw my family as a family of color. But to see in the recent months, my young adult children, especially my son, to be afraid to go outside, to be afraid to drive to work because he works in a upper class society community. And knowing that because of all that's going on, he's a target to be stopped by the police. And to be afraid of that, it just broke my heart. And also, to have to defend myself and what I was experiencing to those who took an oath to protect me, to pass for me, and not being able to be heard because they didn't agree with my experiences. They didn't agree that this opened up things in my personal life and my family's life. I said to someone, I hope I'm never the same. I hope that nothing stays the same. And what I meant by that is that I really hope that I will never be blind to injustice again. That I will always be courageous enough to ask God, what is my role? What is my part to be part of the solution? I've never asked God that before. I would always feel bad. I would always have compassion, but I would never say, God, make me part of the solution. And I hope that as we heal as a community and nation, that we are united even stronger and that we begin to have unbreakable ties across the fences and that we never shatter like glass again, because I think that's what happened. Our America shattered like glass over this. And as, it's being said, we have to keep the gas pedal down, pedal to the metal. Don't give up on conversation. Don't let up on shedding the light on this, because over time, that's all we ever do. Jacqueline, what say you?
This movement, or however you would like to call it, has very much changed my life significantly, and in basically every single way I could possibly think of. When I heard about George Floyd, it didn't significantly change me at that instant because I was very aware this type of thing happened. It was, this happens all the time. Countless of people are being killed. But it was once I actually physically did something other than posting something on social media, it flipped my life upside down. At that point, I to myself became a victim and witnessed police brutality in the worst way. I didn't sleep for a week after my experience at a single protest, I didn't sleep for a whole entire week. It's changed my life at work. The past 2 weeks, every single time I had to go to work, I had to prove that I was allowed to be there. I've had to call my supervisors, and I felt unsafe working. I've never felt unsafe to go to work since now. It's changed friendships, a lot of people are saying that, they have their friends checking on them. None of my friends that are not of color have checked on me at all. It's difficult to live in a world with racism, but it's also difficult to live in a world where everyone hates you for speaking out against it and physically acting out against it. So, this isn't very much of a light thing for me. This has flipped my world upside down in every way.
Thank you, Jacqueline. And, the Bible is full of situations where it shows us that those called to be part of a solution, to be active and a voice for those, that it doesn't always mean it's going to go well. It doesn't always mean it's going to be good. And Jacqueline, you are an example of someone who's willing to put your own life on the line in a way that respected authority. I do want to make sure that is known, that it was a way that respected the authority that was put up. Bonnie, how about you?
Well, I think that I had been slowly coming around to seeing some of the issues for a while now, but after Jacqueline shared her experience, and I know Jacqueline from seeing her work ethic and seeing her hard work, her heart, seeing her show up to do stuff at church when she had many excuses not to come, and just her quiet spirit and her her gentle nature, and just to hear that this young girl went to a protest to pray and then experienced feeling like an animal, that I cried. I mean, it's horrible. No one should be made to feel that way for expressing your First Amendment rights and for going to a place to pray and to just to be present in a public place. And so I posted a few things on my social media, and immediately I got attacked. And I got, third person, like, well, she shouldn't have been out after curfew, or, well, blah, 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 excuse, dismissal. And I had never experienced anything like that, and I didn't realize that was so much of a thing, that when something happens and you speak out, immediately the first reaction of a lot of people is just, no, that didn't happen, it couldn't have happened that way, you must be wrong, you must have misinterpreted it, it couldn't have been as bad as you say, you must have deserved it somehow. And that honestly made me angry, because I've seen nothing of Jacqueline but a hardworking, pure, young person who's serving the Lord. And so, that was hard. And I've watched my kids also now see a different side of society, and they are looking and searching and doing research. And, really, I have a daughter who's really interested in criminal justice and things like that, and has been for a long time. And she's put, well over 100 hours in of research on a lot of these different cases. And every day it seems like she comes in with a new video or a new case or new facts, or, why is this person in jail, but this person's still walking free? And, just seeing it through her eyes too is, this is something that we need to talk about. This is something that needs to change. And I'm not going to sit by idly anymore. I'm going to work as hard as I can to change this, because no one should feel like that.
Just hearing your experiences and how this has impacted your lives, we can tell why it's still all within the United States and even outside of the United States a main focus that people are still fighting, because you can hear your stories and you can hear your heart and how it's really moved you, not just emotionally, but to the core of who we are. This has changed us. Why now? Why George Floyd? Who knows? But we have to hear what is happening to God's people, to everyone. And we have to listen and then respond. What do we do? When we come back from this short break, I want to hear from Brandy how this has affected her. And then Markus, take it off from there as a community activist. What do we do with this? Where did this begin? How did this start even being a problem? All right. When we come back, we'll take a short break. Thank you.
As we build a brand, a show, develop, and discover new possibilities to help one another. Affordable services will help us move to the next level of our journey. Host your own show to inspire or entertain others for as low as $150 per month.
You have 20 shows a week, live stream.
We are looking for sponsors. We showcase your business products and services on our network to be seen by your target market for as low as $200 a month.
That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations.
Let us promote and advertise your event, giving your venue the red carpet treatment. This platform allows venues that feature entertainment, singers, bands, DJs, comedy, fashion, corporate events, and family events to be showcased in a new direction that also involves your audiences. Starts at $200 an hour. We also provides video editing, website builder, commercial video for your business, music videos, photography, provided by our affiliates. As we build our community, we pay it forward. Our nonprofit organization GI Connections is all about giving back to our community. Join us create outreach programs to help our community and live a happy, peaceful, and unity. Let us bring the world to you.
Vision Brothers.
I'll tell the story, and I didn't share this with you, but I'm also a corporate trainer. And when I go into the corporations, the majority of my classes are Caucasian. So here I am, young, black female. I teach my class the same way, whether it's an African American majority or Caucasian or whoever's in the class, because the information does not have a color. It's information, right? So at the end of the class, I'm gathering my things, and an older white gentleman comes to me and he says, "Young lady, you did good." And I said, "Thank you." And he said, "No, I didn't really think you were going to do all that good." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm not sure where this is about to go." And he said, I'm 60 years old, and I was taught that young black people were stupid. And he said, "I'm sorry." He said, "I should have been the one to stop that the way that my family thought years ago." And he said, "You stood up there and you delivered the information eloquently." He said, "I almost left. I didn't realize that you were the teacher. I was still looking for a middle-aged white male to show up. And when he never showed up, I figured I would, they must have sent a replacement, and I was leaving." And he said, "And you captivated me in the first few minutes, and you held my attention for the day." He said, "But I wanted you to know on behalf of me and my family and the way that we treated you that I'm sorry." I didn't know what to say. I said thank you because that would just seem like the right thing to say. But I cried on the way home. And the reason why was because I don't understand where the hatred comes from. I don't understand why we're still here years later. I went to a majority white school. There was only 2 black people in my graduating class. And they had riots. In 1994, they're still having riots and calling people the N-word, and it's I don't understand why we're still here. So the conversation with the older gentleman was about 3 months prior to Corona. So Corona sent me home, and then all of the things started happening. And while I've been home, the main way that has changed me is that I have a 19-year-old daughter. We mentioned George Floyd, but let's bring Breonna Taylor in that was sleeping when she was shot by the police. I have a 19-year-old daughter who probably sleeps on the couch at times, doesn't always she doesn't always do the right thing. So, because none of us always do the right thing, but young people don't always stand down like they're supposed to. So I'm nervous that she's going to respond to the police in a way that they don't like, and she's going to be next, or my nephews. So it's really brought me to a place of say something, say anything, say something that people may eventually understand that we don't hate you. No, I don't hate anybody, but I don't think as a culture we hate what was done to us. Our grandparents, our ancestors, it was done. And we're here now, so we want to figure out how to move forward. Who are the people that are still upholding these laws? I also have a criminal justice degree. I don't even sometimes want to use it. I was told by a white male police officer in my class that at the age of 6 years old, they racially profile little boys in elementary and middle school to get them to prison. I was told that by a white male police officer in my criminal justice class. How can I stand up for justice that's not standing up for me? And I'll just leave it right there.
Whoa. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to take in. But that is the question. How are we still here? But here's another question. How, as Rebecca has stated, is there an aspect of society that never understood this was even happening, that's never seen it, never experienced? Like Bonnie said, like her eyes are open that now she's getting treated like we've been treated all our lives. And then you have the aspect of, those who we like us, the Black community, that this has been part of our life the whole time. And a pastor recently said this, and I love it. He's I won't name who he is because I have not gotten permission. I hope to get him on the show. But he said this. He said that you can't take account for what you don't know. And basically this, if you're left-handed in today's society, you notice that scissors are made right-handed. You notice that refrigerators are put in right-handed. You notice how much right-handed things there are in society because you're always trying to figure out how to make it work with your left hand. But if you're right-handed, you don't notice that there's things that left-handed people are not able to do. That's how I believe it is for the majority of non-minority. It's not just Black people. We have Hispanic cultures that are going through this very same thing. You know, you see people, they're afraid to gather together because they don't know when they're going to just be raided. For what? You know, it's not just the Black communities. It is any minority in America that is being treated like they're still owned. And when we step out of line, well, oh my goodness, we pay the price. Markus, how do you say, as an activist to your community, how are you addressing this? How do you hope to address this issue?
Well, I mean, we've been peacefully protesting for decades, centuries. So it seems like it may get some attention. Then a few weeks later, it's back to like normal, like nothing happened until it happens again. So we have to think beyond protest. What do we do? I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I'm still brainstorming, coming up with things, ideas, researching this and that. But I don't have the answers. I don't know what to do next. But I do have ideas of what to do. And I will not get into that at this point, in this first segment, for the simple fact, I think later on it's more fitting, so to say. And I just think as a community, we all need to just unify. No matter who you are. It's not about, see, us as human beings, we put things in the natural. We see it in the natural as like a race thing, black and white. But it's like it's good versus evil. Because, like you said earlier, all Black people are not criminals or thugs or hooligans or, you know what I'm saying, have-nots. And all white people are not racist and, you know, just throwing out this showcasing their privilege. Everybody's not the same. And that's what we fail to realize. And that's why we need to have more conversations like this to bring different perspectives to the forefront so other people have ideas and see if we can see what each other ideas of what we have, what we think, how we think, why we think what we think, until there's some common ground. So we just have to come together, and when you see injustice, a lot of people, this has been going on for years. Only thing is the technology now. Everybody got cell phones. That's why we see so much footage. But it's been going on. And I think it stems back from slavery. But now that we're so-called free, I don't see that we free as far as paper, but we still been treated as we're enslaved because they just gunning us down in the streets, and the police is not getting no type of accountability held against them. It's like they get promoted instead of going to jail because they kill somebody without any weapons in their hand. Some even complying, as they say, just do what they say. You do what they say, and you still get shot. You still get killed. You still get beat. So what do we do when we comply and the same things happen? We need to get to a point where we just have to stop being so forgiving in a sense. Because we have rights too. So the thing is, if we're not getting anywhere doing what we've been doing, we have to do something else, and then something else may be something that we don't want to do, but it may come to that. We don't want to get to that, but it may come to that. But I think it starts at the top. We need laws that need to be changed. These cops need to be held accountable. And I believe if that happened, a lot of this would cease. As far as police killings.
You know, that brings to mind Matthew 15:21-28. And that is when Jesus was approached by the Canaanite woman. And when we come back, we do have to take a short break. But when we come back, I want to just share with you how Jesus responded to the government when they were systemically handling the minority. When we come back, we'll take a short break. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I am Kiki Dolas and I am here to empower women. I am starting in a new show every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and it's called Honeybee's Women Empowerment. And you know, we're here to discuss topics and to share topics and to of course hear the interaction with you as well. I am the CEO of Are You It Entertainment here in Las Vegas, and I'm also a club owner. I've been in Las Vegas since 1979, and I love my city and I love to share my city. So I would like and hope that you will join us again Tuesday at 3 p.m. Honeybee's Women Empowerment Show. See you soon.
Social Media Shows Network were initiated in 2017. Since then, our founder Maria Pereza never stopped developing a system on social media. In building a network of passionate people that loves to entertain, coach, help others, and deliver informative information to the public, informally, in a low-cost production. She built a platform that surpassed Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and other social media live streaming, but exceeded the function of a podcast. Her main goal is to be able to broadcast on social media like a traditional TV setup involving a group of broadcasters, YouTubers, podcasters, and social media live streamers. Maria is building the confidence of non-actors and non-famous people that joins her to network. We are here to promote and support one another, to help our community grow collectively without inhibitions but with confidence and high self-esteem. We love to be in this family together. Our door is open to help you build your brand, opening opportunities for others, and outreach to our community. We welcome you to the family of social media shows.
To catch Jesus, not agreeing with the rules and the laws, to see if he would stone her, agree that she needed to be stoned, or he would back out. Well, what do you think Jesus did? This is famous, most of us will know it. He said, "Let thee without sin cast the first stone." But I want to bring attention to something else in this scripture, and that is that when Jesus addressed the Pharisees and scribes, he stood up and he talked to them and he addressed them. And Jesus said, "Let thee without sin cast the first stone." But when he addressed the woman, he knelt down and he was writing in the sand. Now, we don't know what he wrote, but he knelt down to her level to show him, I'm right here with you. This isn't about you. But then when the Pharisees and scribes addressed Jesus again, said, "Why won't you condemn her?" He did what? Guess what he did? He stood up again. Because standing up shows that you have authority and that you're not afraid of their authority. And what we have I'm not calling people to stand up and rise against authority. I'm not calling for that. What I'm saying is our voice is our stand-up. Our conversation is our stand-up. Our keeping this going and trying to come up with solutions that work within the legal limits as necessary, as applicable, that is our stand-up. Because it's not about black or white, Hispanic. It's not about that. It's about the government versus the people who are seen as less than. It's been that way since Jesus walked the earth, and it's that way now. It's been that way in history. But let me say this for next week. We want to talk about, just because that's our history, do we accept it? Do we just say la vie, that's the way it is? I say no. And I say that because Jesus didn't say that. Everyone he encountered, he changed. Every unjust Pharisee and scribe, he confronted. Now, it's not up to us to force a solution. It's just up to us to ask God what is our part and be willing to do it. In the coming weeks, we're going to talk about the arguments for change. Things like, what is systemic America? What is qualified immunity? What is going on with the silent voice? It used to be okay if you were silent. You know, Bonnie, you used to be okay if you were silent and you just didn't say anything. But now it's no longer okay to be silent. But it's no longer okay to speak either. So what are we supposed to be doing? I want to talk about no-knock warrants, how that's changing, how the laws are already changing because of protests, because of people going to legislation. Unfortunately, it did cost lives like Breonna Taylor, but it is changing. I want to talk about the craziness of some people in organizations demanding that white people pay us back, pay the black people back. And I don't mean in retrograde, that word, you know. But what I mean is things like this, that if you die as a white person, well, pay us back by leaving a black family everything you have. That's just insane. Like what? What is that about? Does that help the conversation by making things out there to re-budget your monthly income so that you can give black people land? I don't know. I want to talk about this. Is that something that we can support, or is that just something that's egging on the craziness of this whole thing? We want to go beyond the political, right or left. This is really just about life. It's about the lives of those who were lost, taken, murdered. It's about the lives that are challenged every day when they put on the uniform of police and they are assaulted and disrespected and afraid for their lives when they themselves have done nothing wrong. It's about the lives of the young people, the black people who are afraid to go to work, afraid to live their life. But let me just say this, and then we need to leave for this week. Breaking down the barriers are not going to happen in a day. This is a long run. We have to pace ourselves. It's not a sprint. It's going to take many sit-downs, discussions, invitations to one another's churches even. It's going to be uncomfortable. And we're not always going to like the dialogue that we give each other, but we must respect the dialogue. We need to sit silently while others are listening so we can truly hear what they're saying and not just prepare to defend our stand. Whatever this looks like as we are trying to rebuild and tear down at the same time, it does require us to show up. It requires us to step into someone else's world, into their reality. It requires us to become vulnerable and have humility in order to establish relationships that will build trust and that will grow and heal. I hope as you guys who are listening, and also us here on panel, that we can commit to that, the long haul, gaining trust, hearing each other, and building up standards that heal instead of break down. So I address to the panel any final words before we sign off for tonight.
Actually, I would like to say something, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead, and then Rebecca after that.
Where did it go? Oh, Miss Rebecca can talk first.
Rebecca?
Who's fine.
Oh, thank you. I was just kind of thinking about all the conversations tonight, and wow, like really floored by what Brandy shared. And I read this quote on social media recently. It says, "Normalize changing your mind when presented with new information." And I think that is happening to me on a daily basis, sometimes like a moment by moment basis, like blown away by the new information that's coming in. And I don't ever want to minimize another person's experience. And I'm hearing that's happening. And yeah, like that is not okay with me. Like, I don't ever want to participate in that. And thank you, Bonnie, for sharing about that too. And I think it's so important to expose ourselves to new conversations and new environments. Like Bill shared about going to the gym and going to the church and like these different places to get different input and have those thought patterns changed and challenged, and be grateful for those things. And I appreciate this conversation so much. Like, I feel like this has greatly impacted me. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you. Jacqueline.
Yeah, I just want to take just a moment to kind of just honor the lives of the people who were lost to us, and the community lost due to injustices like this, if you don't mind. So we have Jeremy Lake, Cedric Stanley, Eric Garner, Charles K. Goodrich, Christopher Jones, Jerry Brown, Levon King, Juan May, Mark Anthony Blocker, Tommy J. Yancey Jr., George V. King, Justin Griffin, Tyron Jones, Elijah Glay, Marlon Horton, Montrell Moss, Ryan L. Stokes, Elzel Ford, Michael Brown, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and everybody that this society doesn't even know about, whose lives were lost.
I pray for the healing for their families and their loved ones. I also hope that tonight we showed those watching and who will watch in the future that we can come from different backgrounds and beliefs, and in Christ we can have compassion and love. In Christ we can know that just doing our part is enough. Anyone else have a comment before we close out? I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It's not always going to be an easy conversation, but I will tell you this. I believe it'll be one worth listening. So I hope you join us again next week for Truth Talk at Wednesdays at 6 p.m. right here where you're watching right now. I want to give the last word to co-host Markus. Markus, end us out.
So what now? Say that last one again.
Take us home.
Oh, you want a prayer?
All right, let's do it.
Yeah. Well, hey, y'all, I just thank everybody for their input, everybody on the panel. Thank you, Melanie, for bringing it all together. All glory to God. It's just it's a platform that it's gonna reach the world. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I'm expecting more, ready for more, and ready to give more. And I'm just thankful, man. Everybody, y'all just stay prayed up, keep your head up, stay covered, and until the end, I think we all can agree on that.
Salute. Good night, everyone.
All right.
I'm sorry about that. That's my fault. Something else. The mic went rogue.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, you cannot hear that. Okay, only me.
I know, we didn't hear that.
I'm glad. Well, thank you, Melanie. I will remember I told you we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm gonna be calling you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you, Maria. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone, especially those who it's 10 o'clock at your time.